So last week, I began telling you the story of Cindy, who over the course of 25 years had built up a roofing company into a $6 million a year business. When it came time to retire and sell, she didn't know what to do. She knew that she couldn't just go asking everybody what to do when you go to sell your business, because if it got back to her employees or her vendors, she risked losing them. So she didn't know where to start. How do you keep things confidential? When you sell a house, you go to a realtor, but what do you do for a business? So Cindy ended up going to her CPA, which is actually a pretty good place to start. The CPA had worked with a broker in the past and was able to make the referral. This isn't the case with a lot of business owners. In Colorado, there are maybe around 100 business brokers working in this small to medium-sized business range. That's not a lot. So when a business owner goes to sell, they probably end up on Google searching for how to sell my business or business brokers. But how do they know that the top results are the best results? So as somebody who has been on both sides of the table, I've built businesses, I've sold businesses, and now I'm a business broker, I feel like I'm a pretty good person to tell you what to expect and what you need to know. So the first interaction with a business broker is probably going to be over a phone call. This is just a short get-to-know-you phone call. There's not a whole lot of effort you're putting into it, because what you both really want is a face-to-face meeting. So that meeting's probably going to happen at their office. And when you walk in, the first question you should ask should be, how do you handle confidentiality? During the course of your conversation, you're going to be exchanging a lot of sensitive information, and they need to be able to put you at ease that they're taking care of it. So if you haven't already signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement, ask for one on the spot. If they beat around the bush or don't want to provide one, you want to stand up and walk out, because that's not somebody you want to be dealing with. So once you're through that, it's time to get to know your broker. So you're going to want to ask them questions such as, what's your career? What's your history? Have you worked in finance, or have you owned your own business? Have you sold your own business? How long have you been a broker, and what types of businesses have you sold, and what types of industries? If they're part of a firm, you want to ask about the firm's reputation and the other brokers and how well they work together. You're going to want to ask about what types of industries they've worked in and how many businesses they've sold. A good question to ask is, how well do they work with local CPAs, lenders, and transaction attorneys? Because those are really important relationships you've got to manage and be able to leverage with the process. You want to get just an idea about this broker, and are they actually capable of selling your business, and do you feel comfortable with it? So another question you're going to want to ask is fees. You're going to want to know what percentage they take and how they collect it. For Cindy, a big question she had was retainer fees. So there are some brokers out there who still ask for a retainer. Here in Colorado, I know of quite a few. We here at Business Acquisitions, we don't ask for retainers. We don't collect a dime until the business is sold, and that tends to help sellers feel more comfortable that we'll work hard to sell their business. But those are things you need to know up front about this brokerage firm. You also want to ask questions about how they come up with a value for your business and what that process looks like. You want them to explain to you the entire process of selling your business. So if you've watched some of my videos, you should have a pretty good idea about what to expect, but they need to be able to explain it to you. So once that's through, the next step is talking about your business. You want to come in being ready to answer questions such as, what's the history of your business? Who are your employees? Who are your customers and clients? How does your business work? What are the good things about your business? What are the tough things about your business right now? The broker's probably going to want to know about COVID and how that affected you and how you made it through. You are going to want to talk about, or they're going to ask you about, what the ideal buyer for your business might be. And they may even ask you, what do you think your business is worth? Now, don't feel pressure to answer that question, but if you've done some research, you have an opinion, go ahead and say it. There's no reason not to. The entire point of all this is just to get to know them and them to get to know you. You want to make sure that you're comfortable with this person, because it's possible you could be working with them for 3 months, you could be working with them for a year, you just don't know. You need to feel comfortable that when times get tough and you don't understand what's going on and you're all frustrated, that they will take care of you, walk you through it, and just make sure that best is done by you. So this is not the time to get really deep into the financials. You are going to have to tell them about at least your historic revenue over the past few years and how much money you've made. They're going to want to know, are you an S Corp, a C Corp, etc. They're going to probably ask you about personal expenses you may have run through the business and that type thing. You don't want to get real deep into financials. That's safe for the next part. So next week I'm going to be talking about the broker estimate and value, because that's the next step. That's not something that you're going to get at this initial meeting. So if you feel comfortable with them during this meeting and you want to move forward, they are going to need some information moving forward to put together that broker estimate of value. It's basically what your value is, what your business is worth in their opinion. So they're going to need 3 years of tax returns and P&Ls and balance sheets and any year-to-date financial information you might have. They'll probably have a few other questions. Now make sure that they have a secure way for you to give them that information, whether it's a website or in person, because confidentiality is key. It is really important during this whole process to think about how you felt when you were in that room. Was this transactional or was this relational? Can you actually trust them to represent you well and for you to feel comfortable with them during this process? Because it could be a while. So next week I'll be talking about BEV, so stay tuned for that. But until then, take care, and if I can help in any way, let me know.